I'm Larry Wappel, and we're here at the Wappel Grain and Herb Farm in Pierre, Indiana. That's located up in northwest Indiana, up in the region. And we have, actually the whole family is involved with the family farm, along with a few full-time employees. We do a lot of different things on the farm. As far as production, we have a lot of irrigation systems here. We farm sandy loam soils predominantly. And we grow a lot of different crops on the farm, including corn, soybeans, peppermint, spearmint, cucumbers, and some small productions of different herbs. We're concentrating mostly on the harvesting of the hay today, and we're going to first of all mow the hay when we feel it's mature. We scout the fields every other day or so. When we decide it's mature, which usually we look for blooms or blossoms on the plant at about 10%, that's our main signal that the hay is mature to cut for maximum oil production. Then we'll bring in swathers or windrowers, as everybody knows them, for hay. They are just like a hay machine, but they do not have the compression rolls or the feed rolls in them to help cure the hay. The hay has to be cured naturally. We do not want to rupture the oil glands. We're after only the mint oil, not anything else. So the mint oil is stored on each mint plant on the undersides of the leaves in microscopic oil glands. So as the hay dries for at least one day in the sun, maybe 2 days, we'll come in with our choppers and our mint tubs. They're specially designed tubs, and I like to describe them as giant pressure cookers. We'll chop the hay into the tub, we'll bring the tub here, we'll hook up steam lines to the tub. We'll introduce steam at about a 30 psi pressure. That's a static pressure, and that will have a temperature of around 350 degrees. As that steam is introduced into the mint hay, which is in the mint tub, it will flow gradually through the hay, rupture the oil glands that the essential oil is stored in, and it will vaporize it. And that vapor will go on through all the mint hay, clear out the top, and we have the condenser lines on top of each tub. The steam vapor will flow. Now, that steam vapor that we're collecting is mint oil that is in the vapor form, and it's also water vapor that we introduce this steam. So we collect that through our condenser line, we run it into our condensers or cooling tanks, and we condense that back to the liquid form. Once it's in the liquid form, it's going to be about 110 or 115 degrees, and we keep it that temperature because we get a lot better oil separation, keeping in mind we're after the mint oil only. And as it's cooled, the mint oil, which is about 0.6 of a pound lighter than water, it's going to come to the top and float. So we actually have separator cans that this water is collected in, and the mint oil, lighter than water, comes to the top, it floats, and we collect that and put it in 55-gallon drums, and that is what we market that to the end user in. Mint hay, that is, people call it waste, but we don't. We actually take it back to the fields and use that for wind erosion control, water erosion control, and the organic and some fertilizer value in it. It's spread out in the winter months when things are nice and quiet around here and nice and cold. From the farm, we're going to store it in the 55-gallon galvanized drums. One of the unique things about mint oil storage is mint oil has a high content of alcohol, which is a good sterilizer. So we really don't have bad things that grow inside our stored mint oil drums. There's no bacteria in there that can survive, and mint oil doesn't freeze. It doesn't evaporate if we keep the drum sealed. So that's our permanent storage area. We can keep it 2, 3, 5 years indefinitely. Places we go with it are, in the end, we sell it to buyer brokers that actually process it. They first sample it to see the quality of the oil, see if it's mature, immature, or past mature. And then they look at it closely for any contamination that shouldn't be there. Then when it's graded and fit for sale, they take it into their warehouse and they blend my oil with other people's oil, and in the end they blend per their customers or end users' requirements. Big customers that you would recognize are Wrigley's for their gums, their candies, Colgate for mostly toothpaste, all the dental products, and liqueur companies for different flavorings on, say, peppermint schnapps, for example. Also tobacco companies. They're used in menthol filters to a certain extent. So there's many places that the end product goes to from the farm.
I'm Eric Wappel with Wappel Grain and Herb. I'm one of the owners, vice president here. And my main job around the farm is corn production and irrigation. Growing up on the farm, riding in the tractors, combines, kind of developed a passion for growing plants, especially corn. And I know everybody talks about mint around here, but that's not my favorite thing. My brother went off and he's a soybean production manager. And so springtime I'm planting corn. Summertime I help with mint here and there. My main job in the summer is irrigation. We have 54 center pivots that I manage and run throughout the farm. So the reason my dad started mint on our farm is because in the summer he had nothing to do. We all hate going to the lake. We hate having time off. So mint production kind of fits in between everything else. We start mint planting as soon as the frost is out of the ground. So we're planting mint in March, sometimes late February. We typically get done before it's time to plant corn. And we start mint fertilization as far as nitrogen, kind of before we start fertilizing corn in the spring. Mint harvest starts in July, kind of when we're done with taking care of the corn and soybean crop for the first time. And mint harvest runs until about the day we start picking corn. So it fits in the summer really nice, late winter, early spring. In the fall time, we moldboard plow all the mint under that we're keeping. And then in the winter time, once the ground's froze, when we have nothing else better to do, we go out on the fields, we spread all the cooked mint hay back on the fields. Well, the irrigation kind of got started in the area because of the mint crop. The mint originally was grown on the muck soils, the high organic matter, lower ground, which doesn't need irrigation. And once all that ground was in and out of production of mint, they moved it to the light sands and realized we need to water this crop now. So people started to put up irrigation systems typically for their mint crop. And that just expanded as you move a field from production out of production. You go to the next field, put up a center pivot, and keep expanding in that way. And with the irrigation, brought in other specialty crops like cucumbers. Just north of us, there's a lot of tomatoes grown, onions. We grow seed corn now, which is irrigation's a requirement. Pretty much every specialty crop is required irrigation on the sands in the area. So mint, unlike most crops raised on farms, is a perennial. We put a field in production and typically keep that field in production 3 to 5 years. Like I mentioned earlier, we moldboard plow in the wintertime, plow that roots under, and in the spring it grows back.
Farm Bureau, I was never a member up till 5 or 6 years ago. And then we had some definite challenges and needs as far as the mint industry or my neighboring mint farms. We had some things going on where we required some help. And Farm Bureau, I approached them. I knew they were respected. I knew they had attorneys. I knew they were dedicated farmers. And they had connections with state legislators. And we had connections too with 2 or 3 of them, but I needed the whole state involved in this to get some rulings if we were going to continue our production in the normal manner that we were used to. And so Indiana Farm Bureau came to our rescue, said they would really help us, come down and interviewed, saw our need, and put a program together to allow us to continue our business as normal the next year. So I would thank them a lot for that. Hi, I'm Larry Wappel Sr., and I found my voice with Indiana Farm Bureau.